Howdy, my name is Madeline, and today we will be discussing two different insects, the first one being the Homolodisca vitropinus, or glassy wing sharpshooter, and the Bactrocera olei, also known as the olive fruit fly. Both of these insects cause a lot of damage to the olive oil producers, and so we will be debating which one causes the most damage today.
Howdy, my name is Ashlyn and I will be discussing the Homolodisca vitropinus, or glassy wing sharpshooter. Today we will be debating whether the olive fruit fly or glassy wing sharpshooter causes the most loss for olive oil producers. These insects are detrimental in many different ways, so there's much to discuss.
So the insect I will be discussing today is the Bactrocera olei, which is also known as the olive fruit fly, which is what I will be referring to it as. It is a small insect that only averages about 5 millimeters long, and when its wings are extended, it can reach up to 10 millimeters long. These insects have a head, thorax, abdomen, wings, and a serrated ovipositor. Their wings also are easily camouflaged because of the color they possess. The life cycle of the olive fruit fly starts by preparing to lay its eggs 2 to 3 days beforehand. They begin by using their ovipositor to cut a small hole into olive fruits. Over the next few days, the mother will deposit one egg inside each olive hole, and the larva will begin feeding on the olive skin for the rest of the larva stage, which is about 20 days. The larva stage is also commonly known as maggots inside fruits. The pupation stage is next and can take place inside the olive fruit or in the surrounding soil. Pupation in either of these locations is extremely different, with pupation in soil lasting up to 6 months, and pupation in the olive fruit is a quick 8 to 10 days. Once the pupa has developed into an adult, they will switch from eating olive fruits to eating more nutrient-focused foods such as bird droppings. The olive fruit fly has a lifetime of up to 6 months and can lay eggs up to 6 times in their lifetime, producing hundreds of larvae in this short 6-month period. The behavior of these insects differs depending on the gender of the insect. Males are aggressive because they're looking for new partners. On the other hand, females display aggressiveness over oviposition spots when preparing to lay eggs. This aggression is shown through pouncing, wing waving, boxing of the head and thorax, and fast running at the opponent. These insects cause damage to olive plants by using the ovipositor to lay eggs, which damages the fruit and causes them to fall off trees or become extremely dry. This leads to an enormous amount of olive fruits damaged every time an olive fruit fly egg is laid. The olive fruit fly is said to be native to Africa and slowly moved to Middle East, where the expansion of the olive fruit began. Today, these insects can be seen all across the world, but mainly in California. These insects can be found anywhere that olives are grown or where they naturally grow. The olive fruit fly first made its appearance in America in Los Angeles, California, and slowly made itself a resident of the state and can be found all over California where olives grow.
The glassy wing sharpshooter is an insect that originated in California and is half an inch in size. The glassy wing sharpshooter's immature stages begin with multiple eggs laid under a low-hanging leaf, and the female that lays these eggs will cover them with a white substance, and once the eggs hatch, the substance will turn brown and leave a scar on the leaves permanently. While the young nymphs develop, they will eat on the stems of the plants until the summer comes when they are full-grown adults. And something noticeable to identify a glassy wing sharpshooter is its color. The glassy wing sharpshooter is brown in color with a reddish color found around the body of the insect. So that's how you can identify them. This insect likes to hop around from leaf to leaf as an adult and continues until the end of its life. While hopping from leaf to leaf, the glassy wing sharpshooter feeds on fluids from plants known as the xylem, and it affects more than 100 species of plants by doing this because of how quickly it can spread diseases that it carries. When the insect does infect each plant, it's because it's carrying bacterium from one plant to the other, and it's detrimental to the plants and can spread and kill the plants. One victim of the glassy wing sharpshooter is the olive tree. This insect is extremely harmful to the olive tree by giving it diseases that kill it. With this species killing olive trees, olive oil producers are struggling in business. The glassy wing sharpshooter's damage has been traced not only in California but also in European countries. And in addition to it being international, the insect has shown that it has multiple strains of diseases causing olive trees to suffer. There are several economic impacts that this insect is making, but it's most important to recognize the agricultural loss made by the glassy-winged sharpshooter.
Since both these insects cause a lot of damage to the olive oil industry, a similarity between them is the glassy-winged sharpshooter and olive fruit fly are the way eggs are laid. Both of these insects cause harm to plants because of their eggs. Since the glassy-winged sharpshooter spreads diseases to many other plants, this could reduce the amount of damage it can do to the olive tree. The olive fruit fly has a direct impact on the production of olive oil because it feeds on the fruit or the olive. Olive fruit flies have been around for a very long time, while the glassy-winged sharpshooter has not, giving it more time to give olive oil producers a hard time. The olive fruit fly has been responsible for 80% of oil loss and 100% loss of other kinds of olive used for eating. With such high percentages of loss, it is easy to see how effective the olive fruit fly is at damaging olive trees. In addition to this, the maggots that eat away at these trees can affect the health of anyone eating these trees.
Although the olive fruit fly eats directly from the tree, it is shown that the glassy-winged sharpshooter affects over 100 species of plants. With so many plants being affected, this causes a larger and faster spread that would reach the olive trees. In addition to this, the glassy-winged sharpshooter diseases the trees while the olive fruit fly just feeds on the fruit of the tree. And the glassy-winged sharpshooter has the potential to wipe out the entire olive tree species before the olive fruit fly can even eat the fruit. The glassy-winged sharpshooter is notorious for carrying disease to many plants at a time, which affects the olive tree negatively. And if this insect is carrying disease to many plants at a time, that means that other species are looking for more sources of food. If insects choose the olive tree and its fruit for food, this is a game changer for all insects and or animals. The glassy-winged sharpshooter is extremely harmful to the ecosystem's well-being.
The reason that the olive fruit fly is seen as more damaging to the oil industry is because the glassy-winged sharpshooter has a wider range of plants that it affects. The olive fruit fly is only damaging to the olive oil industry. The olive fruit fly has a very short lifespan of about 6 months, but in this time, each fruit fly can lay up to 500 eggs, meaning that it would damage 500 different olives. When eggs are laid by the olive fruit fly, the fly has to cut a hole into the fruit to place the eggs. This is called oviposition. This process causes cuts to the olive and causes it to become dry or fall off trees. The cuts caused by this also make the fruit more susceptible to spreading diseases and fungus, immediately making it unacceptable to be produced into oil. These eggs are laid individually in a single olive fruit where they hatch and feed on the skin of the olive fruit during the larva stage. This stage lasts about 20 days. During this stage, the olive fruit is known as a maggot. Once an olive fruit has maggots, it is no longer allowed to be produced for human consumption for fear of spreading diseases. Therefore, every stage of the olive fruit fly is damaging to the olive and the oil industry instead of occasionally damaging olive plants like the glassy-winged sharpshooter.
It is valid to recognize that the fruit of the olive tree is directly affected by the maggot larvae of the fruit fly, but there's more room for the fruit to grow on the tree itself. Just because the fruit is being affected, this does not mean that the tree itself is harmed, and the glassy-winged sharpshooter does not only disease the fruit, but also the entire plant itself. This insect can spread disease by affecting one tree and letting a domino effect happen to the others around it. If the olive fruit fly lays eggs on the tree, it will only affect that tree, so it makes more sense that the glassy-winged sharpshooter is more damaging to the olive oil business. And if all of the trees are diseased, there will be no fruit for the maggot larvae of the olive fruit fly to feed on. It is important to note that the large population of glassy-winged sharpshooters are an invasive species that hurt all agricultural production everywhere.
As I said before, the olive oil fruit fly is an important insect to study because of the harm it can cause to olive oil production. In areas such as the Mediterranean that have lack of information on this insect, olive fruit flies have been responsible for up to 100% loss of olive crops. This shows the need for information on these important insects. With more information, we would be able to save more olive crops and help the olive oil industry continue to thrive. It is important to have immense research so scientists can find treatments for the olive fruit fly that are helpful for crops but also not damaging to the olive fruit fly species. In areas such as California, which has a large population of olive fruit flies and a large producer of olive crops, Knowledge of the olive fruit fly is essential. Over the years, researchers have studied ways to manage this pest with pesticides, so olive destruction in California is not as bad as it would be in an area with no information on these insects. Although the glassy winged sharpshooter damages more plants than just the olive tree, it is still incredibly important to study. This insect causes damages to many plant species, including the olive tree, and affects the olive oil industry, even if it is not as much as the olive oil fruit fly.
The glassy winged sharpshooter is an important species of insect. It is harmful to so many species of plants, including the olive tree. By spreading disease to each plant it comes into contact with, it is hard to say that the glassy winged sharpshooter is not hurting the production of olive oil. If we are more informed about the invasive species of glassy winged sharpshooter, we will be able to protect plants internationally. Since the eggs of the glassy winged sharpshooter leave scars on the tree and adults feed on them, there is double the amount of damage. Although the olive fruit fly directly eats the fruit and causes maggots that make the olives inedible, the glassy winged sharpshooter makes the tree sow disease before this even happens. It is important to gather more information on the glassy winged sharpshooter to know ways to limit its reproduction. If we can not stop the spread of this species of insect, we will damage the economy by creating harm to the agricultural world. The olive fruit fly does cause a lot of damage in addition to the diseases caused by the opposing insect, but the glassy winged sharpshooter has a large population that is found worldwide. With a huge outbreak of disease and multiple strains of it, not only olive oil production but all agricultural production is in harm's way. It should be remembered that if we do not control this invasive species, we will have a huge agricultural problem on our hands.